Donald Trump just did a Fox News sit down with Laura Ingraham, so quite the softball interview you could expect, yet he still managed to fumble it, being unable to give assurance about the most simple questions on his common critiques and worries about his presidency, not talking in substance at all about policies or presenting solutions for the problems he spoke about, and also filled with his usual lies and misinformation. So we're going to look over it all just to have a good laugh.
President Biden announcing reforms to the Supreme Court, which include not allowing immunity for presidents and also new ethics rules. Now, a lot of us who used to clerk at the court believe that that's just a naked attempt to start knocking off conservative justices.
It is.
They didn't even consult Dick Durbin or the Senate Judiciary Committee on any aspect of this. What does this mean to you, what Biden is?
Well, it's a typical Biden con. He doesn't want to give up immunity because if he didn't have immunity, look at all the things he did. The $3.5 million from Russia, all the money he's taken in from China, all of the bad things and the evil things he's done, not to mention that thousands of people killed in the border. Look at the Afghanistan pullout with the worst, most embarrassing day in the history of our country. All of the things he's done that are so bad.
Okay, first let's debunk the lies he brought up, and then we can explain what it is exactly Biden is proposing. There's a difference between the executive acts of a president that are reasonably within his line of duty and aren't crimes, by the way, like don't have a criminal statute around them, and clear-cut crimes that a president may do and then wants immunity just because of his position. Like, for example, Obama ordering a drone strike is an executive action. It's within his executive duties, and there's not a law he's breaking in doing so that says, hey, you can't order drone strikes. Donald Trump knowingly trying to defraud an election with fake electors after everyone around him in high-ranking positions tells him there's no election fraud is a clear-cut crime. So let's go through these quickly, the other things he had to say. The Afghanistan pullout had to happen because of a deal that Trump himself signed, a sloppy deal called the Doha Agreement, where he left out the Afghani government in the negotiations, and he negotiated without them, leaving them not knowing about annexation of land that he agreed to, no support in the way of airstrikes, their main way of staving off the Taliban, and a stiff timeline for the U.S. to withdraw our troops. He then pulled out all but 2,500, left our expensive weaponry, and then kicked the can down the road to Biden to handle. The only part Biden had in all of it was holding to the agreement and timeline that Trump himself put us on. The Russia money he brings up had nothing to do with Biden. It had to do with Hunter, his son, but it was proven in a Republican report to not be Hunter's company that it was sent to and had no evidence of wrongdoing attached with it anyway. So a bunch of malarkey, as they would say. The China money has been largely debunked again by Republican reports. Now, for what Biden is actually proposing, it's an amendment to, first off, not allow presidential immunity. He also wants to propose 18-year term limits for justices on the Supreme Court who currently can serve for life, and congressionally approved binding codes of ethics in terms of donations, in terms of way they rules, these kinds of things for the Supreme Court that is supposed to be the highest court in our law, but has no checks and balances, has no accountability, all of which are pretty modest Supreme Court reforms. They're not like progressive or radical or anything like that. Like, he's not disbanding the court or adding more judges and packing them or anything like that. It's things that any rational person should want to agree to, because how dare we set term limits on judges so they can't serve until they're 90 and have ways to hold them accountable, right? So radical. But of course, no immunity means Trump gets in trouble, and term limits means that Republicans can't pack the courts and then hold it that way for 50 years. So there's little to no chance that the Republicans agree to this, but it is another surprising progressive move from Biden.
What can you say to our viewers tonight to reassure them that this was an excellent pick?
Well, first of all, he's got tremendous support. And he really does among a certain group of people that like families. I mean, he made a statement having to do with families. That doesn't mean that people that aren't a member of a big and beautiful family with 400 children around and everything else, it doesn't mean that a person he's not against anything.
To be clear, Vance's support is equal to that of trash cans. He's minus 15 favorability in his own home area, minus 4 in the average of all polls in every area. This is one of the most unqualified and unliked VP picks of all times. And his comments were directly against single women who aren't mothers, a jab at those trying to have kids but can't, those using the fertilization treatments that he wants blocked and now are unable to. He clearly was stating that that he doesn't see women as equal and that their only role or concern in life should be to breed and care for the children of their man, which is wildly sexist, to say the least.
She got rid of the laugh. I noticed I haven't seen that crazy laugh that she got. She's crazy. That laugh, that's the laugh of a crazy person. But I noticed that she's not using that laugh anymore. Somebody convinced her, don't laugh, just don't laugh. Don't laugh under any circumstances because
I like laughter, but
I mean, I love how even the Fox News host chimes in and is like, hey, like laughter is cool. I mean, people like laughter. It shows an air of energy and youthfulness that wasn't in the race before Kamala was in there. Nobody wants the old bumbling men who ramble and speak delusionally and show no emotions. And this is why young voters are rallying in swaths behind Kamala Harris. The right thought that this would be a valid attack on her, like, oh, we could paint her as annoying. Like, it's like a common attack against women. I feel like they show too many emotions and men think that they can attack them for it. And it's also because they're really grasping at straws. They don't have anything of merit to show for it. And it's just tremendously helped her instead, giving her multiple viral clips. And she has still been laughing, by the way. But imagine if your only attack on your political opponent for president was to make fun of their laugh like you're in high school. That's kind of juvenile and, dare I say, kind of weird.
Years old. A lot of people, I didn't realize she was 60. I thought she was a little younger, but she's 60. She is talking a big game, but her game is pretty bad.
He has no idea what to use anymore for an attack, and I love to see it. She's 60 and you're 80, if we're rounding up, first of all. But he's now the bumbling, delusional old man in the race, yet he's still trying to default about talking about his opponent's age. Trump said the Revolutionary War was won by controlling airports. You tell me how much sense that makes. He said that magnets don't work in water. He misspeaks constantly. The Saudi Arabia, da, ba, da. He said that he was running against Obama in 2020 and 2016. He's confused Nancy Pelosi for Nikki Haley, Jeb Bush for George Bush. This is clear-cut mental decline, and he just doesn't know what to do anymore now that he can't just default and point to someone else who's older than him, as Kamala is way younger, way sharper, and a more efficient speaker and presenter, more so than Trump has ever been, which is exactly why he's running from her in the debates. It'll be interesting seeing moving forward how he chooses his lines of attack, because by God, is he swinging and missing pretty hard right now.